So I think the big challenges right now are just really business certainty. I think there's a lot going on in Congress right now. There's a lot going on in the White House. There's a lot of changes from a incentive level to regulatory and permitting. And it's really hard for businesses and developers to know what's coming. And so I think that's probably number one. Something else that was mentioned in the panel previous to us was, again, kind of in that need for business certainty that there seems to be a yo-yo effect between each administration. Every 4 years it changes, and so how do businesses deal with that? And it's just really, really tough for them. Well, I think that you're seeing that at a federal level right now with the Republicans controlling the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. Earlier this morning, the House of Representatives passed its reconciliation bill, the big, beautiful bill, which had some repeals for various tax credits from the Inflation Reduction Act, but others were kept. So, for instance, for nuclear, I think you're really seeing a real interest in nuclear energy from conservatives, as well as a need to get the roadblocks out of the way from regulatory and permitting lens so that we can start building again. I think you are also seeing a lot of interest at the state level. So for instance, in Texas, there's a lot of movement there in deploying technology at a local level. And so you're having conservative grassroots movements trying to support the initiatives either for transmission or for the build out of renewables, because they either believe that that's the right thing for the environment or it helps them in their communities with economic development. So I think at a federal and a local level, you're seeing conservatives leading all over the place. I think there's not really one specific, there's no silver bullet here because it's such a complex system and a web of regulations and permits. The number one thing that needs to get done is a comprehensive permitting bill that touches on everything from transmission to pipelines to oil and gas and renewables. We need to be able to build the energy systems for today and tomorrow quickly in order to compete with China, in order to compete with other countries around the world, but while also providing affordable or reliable energy to Americans in a clean way. So I think that's challenging, but I think we're actually making really good progress right now. Most people don't know this, but American manufacturing and American energy products, for the most part, are some of the cleanest in the world. And so something that I would like to see is better data on that and better knowledge, better thought leadership on that, making sure that Americans in the world know that America's products are already incredibly clean and low emissions. But there's more work to be done, right? You can deploy more clean energy systems onto the grid to reduce embodied carbon. You can use your systems more efficiently, so you use less fuel. I just did a paper on geothermal energy, and that is an area where there was a lot of interest in a bipartisan way that if you told me 5 years ago that you'd have a bunch of conservatives talking about the importance of geothermal, I would have not believed you. And we held an event in March, and there was Secretary CRES from the Department of Energy came out and spoke on behalf of the geothermal technology. So I think there's just a lot of really interesting stuff going on to making the connection between America's energy competitiveness, its affordability, and creating a secure, more reliable grid for consumers, for businesses, and for national security. So I would definitely agree with that statement. I would not say that it completely nullifies that discussion, just because politics is generally downstream of culture. And so you're seeing those political debates from something relevant from 10 years ago still being taken place today. But there are a lot of conservatives who are starting to really take a look at the clean energy incentives that were actually repealed in the reconciliation bill with a different take than they might have 5 or 10 years ago. And so I think that old debate is still happening, but it's happening with a lot less fervor because of that energy growth. There's a lot more room for an all of the above energy system, and like we say, you need all of the above and below. So you need both the solar and wind, you need geothermal, you need nuclear, you need everything. So I think it's really, really critical to make sure that people hear from others who may disagree with them. I think, as I mentioned before, um, it's really, really critical to build broad coalitions of people who work in a bipartisan way so that when you move large pieces of legislation, you enact change, there's a lot of support for it, and that improves business certainty, which is much more likely to accelerate the pace of development and deployment of energy technologies, and hopefully continues to make us competitive. So I think conferences like these and similar events where you just have a lot of people having these discussions, having panels, networking, and they're all from all over the country, I think is a really good way to start that and to really point directly to the importance of building a broader coalition.